Hello, Union Hill. Greetings from South Africa. Hello to Ben and to everyone that's listening to this. I'm joined by Karen, my wife, and Nasito, a fellow worker in the ministry. And yeah, it's wonderful to have this opportunity to speak to you through the medium of technology. We were at Union Hill now almost 8 years ago. I think, Ben, you said, as Freddie grows, so you have a barometer for the time that we've been away, since he was very tiny when we left. And in that time, we were called away. Ben was preaching through Genesis 12, I think, and Abraham was called. And that was a very pivotal day for us, because the Lord called Abraham but didn't tell him where he was going. And that opened a confirmation for us that we were going to go back to South Africa. We've been living there ever since. Coming back, yeah, was an interesting transition. We have a ministry in an informal settlement in just outside of town. It's called Middelpos, and we've basically been initially just running a Sunday service there, and getting to earn the trust of the local population, just communicating, doing Bible studies, and really just showing up on a Sunday, basically. And then it became clear that we could be there more often during the week. And so, yeah, we started investing in that. And we have a property. It's about 30 by 30 meters. It's not very big. We've got a couple of wooden buildings there, and it's right in the middle of an informal settlement. What it looks like there is extreme poverty in a country that already has approaching, 50% unemployment. There's no running water. There's no electricity, or at least there's no formal electricity laid on. So a lot of there's no sewerage. So at the end of the day, it's a very difficult place to live, and many of the people that are there are unemployed. A lot of children, and so our ministry shifted in the next year or two towards a children's ministry, and we found that poverty is obvious there. You can see people aren't wearing the best clothes, or they don't have jobs or whatever. But we also noticed that there was a spiritual poverty, and the children especially showed us that they were devoid of love. So that the moment we started showing up and loving on them, just by spending time with them, by doing as little as we were doing, they embraced us, quite literally, physically and spiritually embraced us as a community and as children. And wasn't shortly after that Nasito actually started coming to the ministry. Nasito and I have known each other, or we've known each other for 6 years or so. Nasito has been at the rehab in just a town north of here for about 12 years. He's a recovered heroin addict, and basically has come to saving faith through the faith-based rehab that we were volunteering at. And yeah, it's been a couple of years on and off coming to the ministry. So he was being very familiar with the ministry pre-COVID, right? And so we were running church on Sunday, and we were doing it was probably somewhere in the region of 30 to 50 children on a Sunday. And they would come on a Sunday. We would do basically children's church, right? So we would sing songs, we'd do a very small message, but mainly we loved on them. We showed them God's grace by always, basically treating them with love and giving them food and helping them out. That eventually evolved into a soup kitchen, where we would feed them three days a week. Now, today, the schools have feeding programs, but then this was sometimes the only meal they would get before they got home after school. So yeah, it was pretty. We had adults as well, obviously coming for the food, because there are a lot of homeless people or a lot of unemployed people that are looking for that kind of support as well. Yeah, we've always had a local person, someone from the township, living on the property. And this is going to probably be the first time that it'll be a man. So far, it's always been women. We had one lady move away. She because of family situation. Just before COVID, though, we had a lady, Cynthia, pass away, unfortunately, she passed away during COVID. And so shortly after that, the ministry kind of went into mothballs, mainly because of the risks to the children, etc., etc. So, yeah, and now that COVID is toned down a little bit, COVID hit South Africa pretty hard. I don't think anybody was exempt from that. But today, the COVID is starting to lessen to a degree. Well, I don't really know, quite frankly. The government has decided that they'll deregulate a lot of the rules and we can basically go back. And about a month ago, Masito physically moved into Middleport. And it's a dark place, a violent place. It's for someone like Masito going there, it poses some socioeconomic risks. And so, yeah, a lot of prayer is needed for us at this stage, for Masito in particular. He can speak a little bit about his calling, but it's a real calling that is really manifested in God's timing. Masito is rescued off the streets, and so we'll be going back into a situation to be light and love for the children and it's already happening. I mean, it's been 3 weeks. There's no typical day in life in an informal settlement, but Masito has already. I mean, the kids are all over him.
Well, I want to hear from Masito. We've been praying for Masito. Anyone that's been following along with your journey and your ministry has been praying for Masito for years. We always get updates. So Masito, it's great to meet you and to see you and to introduce you to the extended Union Hill Church family and welcome. And we're just excited for what God is doing. But share a little bit about his call to you and your response to him, how he's saved you, grown you, and now sending you back to do ministry in his heart and with his love. Share a little bit, please.
Yes, when I was a kid, I was on the street for, I think, a decade. And somebody else, which was a pastor himself, and he took me in, tried to take me back to school, but my mind was already in, and what is this thing?
Messed up with drugs.
Yeah, drugs and the street and gangsterism and all that, because I grew up in the city of Johannesburg. I'm not from the Western Cape, West Coast. I'm from the inland. Yes, and it was quite a journey, on and off, running away, come fetch me, and in and out of juvie, until I was out, in and out of prison. Until then, I had an encounter with God himself. I was in prison, because I was a child that got a good memory. If you read a Bible verse to me, they're stuck in my mind all the time. And there was one, John 14, verse 6 was always kind of playing in my mind, where Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and life, And I asked, what is life? And Jesus said, I am life, And I said, okay, if Jesus is life, which means I'm dead without Jesus. I need to accept Jesus, but he's the one that accepted me without knowing. And now I'm not trying, but it's in my heart to kind of like show to the kids, nothing good you can do without Jesus. With Jesus in your life, the most important thing is your destination. We all plan and build our own empire on this world, but it's the things that is going to perish. What about your soul? I'm always preaching that. What about your soul? You can get all the riches in this world, but at the end of the day, you don't have that joy, And I said, the only joy that you can get is in Jesus Christ. That is my ministry. It's all I preach to the kids and show them love, hug them, Sometimes they make me bankrupt because I have to take the money out of my pocket and buy them something to eat, because I can't eat in front of the kids, I have to eat with them. And it's been a journey. These 3 weeks felt like 3 years,
Yeah.
because kids, they're handful. But I'm enjoying it. And I
Amen.
love it.
Well, it's such an answer to prayer. So good to hear from you. And we're limited in time today, but we're going to continue the conversation, the story, and get more specific updates. But you are doing the ministry of Jesus. You are John 1. Jesus moved into the neighborhood. He tabernacled with us. The word became flesh. It's incarnational. That's exactly what you're doing, Mosito, with the Spirit into that place. You're light in the darkness. You're salt to the earth. And we're praying for you. We're just going to continue to pray for you to see a harvest. As you plant, that we will see a harvest beyond just the garden of your community, but a true harvest of souls. And we are praying with that. What is, for Wayne or for Karin, what are some ways that we can pray now? Like as things you say are starting to open up. This is, Mosito's an answer to prayer, getting back into Middle Pas. You're beginning the soup lunches again coming up in just a few weeks. What are ways that we can partner or pray in these next couple of weeks?
Well, I think primarily prayer number one is for Mosito. Something he would actually tell the men at the rehab is that when you leave the rehab, that's day one. They can be 9 months in a program and get to the end of the program and think, great, and he will remind them that it's day one. And for Mosito, this is week 3, week 4, month 1. And so, just continual prayer as the Spirit leads, just to just pray for him every day, literally for that day, that the Lord will guard his heart and his mind and his tongue, and that the Lord will use him and grow him and sanctify him. Because it's a very long, it's a long game, right? There's the children respond well to him, and so that's the next prayer, is that the kids will come, that we'll be able to support Mosito in all ways of the meaning of that word holistically. He's the in situ missionary on the ground at the end of the day, and we're his support team effectively at the end of the day. Eventually, like you've already opened the door, Ben, and I can't thank you enough for just, when I was still at Union Hill, we were in a season talking about love and pursuit, and you, brother, personify love and pursuit. And under the circumstances that we've had for the last couple of years, you have certainly ensured that this kind of dialogue can happen, and I'm really grateful for that. And pray for Karin and I. The situation in South Africa is difficult. We have water supply issues, we have electricity supply issues, but I think Mosito said it himself earlier. But we're there to serve the Lord, and so Paul could serve in prison. His life was poured out as a drink offering. He understood that it was fine. Our discomfort is nothing compared to the glory that waits ahead. And ultimately, if the gospel is proclaimed, then we have joy. That's basically the. Want to thank Union Hill for those. I mean, so many of you support us and you barely know us. For those of you that do know us, we want to shout out to Jana and Jim and some of the other people that are still there. Chris, very, very, you guys, the elders, keep contact with us. So that's been marvelous. I just wanted to read a scripture just to close, Ben, if I might.
Please.
This is Luke 4, verse 18. It really explains a lot of where our ministry is heading. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim that captives will be released, that the blind will see, that the oppressed will be set free. During COVID, when our Middle Coast active ministry was basically mothballed, I went back to the rehab. This is where Masita and I became a little bit more closer again after a period. And I also become more involved in prison ministry. And so those are areas where the Lord is starting to lead us as well. There's going to be, the soup kitchen. There's going to be the helping of the kids and the loving on the kids. Eventually, there'll be a formal Sunday service being put back again. And then, but there's also the ministry that Masita will have of having a men's group, having a support group for people that are struggling with unemployment and all of the socioeconomic, including addiction, is a big problem there on the West Coast. But
Yeah.
I guess we're fully out of time for this session.
Just for today. It's always a to be continued. We love you guys. Yeah. Thank you. It's a privilege to walk alongside you across the world, but to see the kingdom work extend to where you are, to be inspired by you, encouraged by you. I hope we can be that to you. Karen, any last words, any message you would want to share to Union Hill Church family? We've got to hear from you.
Well, just I miss my friends. And I always think of everybody, and thanks for your love and praise for us.
Yeah. And you are that body, that you are that church, that we can't, just knowing that there are people out there praying for us. Prayer support is immensely helpful, and your faithful support over all these years, Ben, and your family. We yearn fondly for those years that we were with you, and so this is great, and we'll do what we can to do more of these on a more regular basis.
Let's do it. Let's do it again soon. So good to see your faces, even across the challenging technology of Zoom, but we welcome it. So good to meet you, Masito, and we are praying with you. Looking forward to hearing more testimonies of God's work in and through all of you in the weeks to come.
Bye.